Good morning, everyone, and welcome to my live stream on Facebook. My name is Jimmy Cheng. I'm a professional photographer and filmmaker, also an ambassador for Olympus camera. Right, cool. If you're new here, you don't know what this live stream is all about. It's about photography, filmmaking, and anything about Olympus. I'm happy to answer because, of course, I have massive knowledge about their cameras and lenses. So fire away as and when you wish to ask anything. So okay, so this is kind of what the gist is about, for this particular live stream. I do have a small structure, just trying to keep things organized for my daily thing. And when I say daily, it doesn't happen between Monday to Sunday. It's only Monday to Friday. I need a weekend off, of course. Like I'm a human being, I need some rest as well, and to work on something else other than just doing this. So anyway, it's only about half an hour, so between now and 11:30, I often overrun a little bit depending on the questions I get or not. If not, then I'll probably finish on time. If I do have questions, then I answer them, and I might dragging a little bit longer. But normally I have three kind of sections you can see from my title screen here. I have a general update because the stream is live, so and also public. And I would like to update my friends and family around the globe, so that to let them know that I'm okay in London, my family are doing well as well, and you definitely hear my kids screaming later on. And so it's just more like a general update. And also for you guys, if you are curious, I'm also a YouTuber, so I have a YouTube channel called Red35 Photography. This is also my opportunity for people who follow me and follow my YouTube channel, an opportunity to get a heads up what's coming up or what's going on with my channel and stuff like that. Having said that, my channel has been relatively quiet for the last 2 months now, and there's not much growth there because we really haven't done much in terms of shooting. I do actually have a live video as well on YouTube every Wednesday, which is today. So every Wednesday at 3 o'clock GMT London time in the afternoon, I will have a live photography 101, so you can join me there and talk about everything Olympus photography and filmmaking. So you're welcome to join me there as well. So it's going to be fun. Today's topic is going to be really, really cool. It's about your favorite lenses. So come and join me there at 3 o'clock today. It'll be fun. And speaking of streaming, I think I'm going nuts here. Apart from this daily stream that I'm doing every morning. Good afternoon, Barana. Excellent. Good to see you. And it is good to do streams that try and take my minds off of these kind of current situation, lockdown thing at the moment, and because we can't go out, it's just really kind of bored at home. And but this is kind of cool because I like to chat with all these like-minded friends around the globe, about photography, filmmaking, being a creative, right? You're gonna exchange information, talk about things that we like and love and passionate about. So this is what this series is all about, all my live streams about. So Wednesday, I do have a lot of streams between today, also this morning I have my Facebook, and this afternoon I have my YouTube. And this evening, if you're still up and you've got nothing else to do, 8 o'clock, I have another stream. But this time it's not from my channel or my Facebook. I'm actually a guest for my fellow YouTube, also Olympus visionary from Finland, Peter Forsgard. Yes, I'll be his guest on his show tonight, this evening at 8 p.m. Of course, London time again. So you can work out around your area to see whether you can catch me up there. And I'm pretty sure it's going to be fairly popular because he's got a lot of followers, and it'll be fun. Then tomorrow, not finished. Tomorrow I have another stream, but this time it's more UK based. I'm going to talk about, it's a lockdown, part of the lockdown series organized by the Professional Photo magazine in the UK. They're very popular among the pros, and I read their magazines. They're fantastic people. So they're doing this series to interview a lot of the professionals, industry leaders, what they're doing, during this lockdown period. So it's going to be really interesting to talk about my journey in photography and into filmmaking, and what I'm doing with the cameras and stuff. We're going to talk a lot about. I don't want to spoil you with the content, so you have to stay tuned for tomorrow. It is free to join. Everything is free that I mentioned. So all the live stream, all the interviews that I'm doing now is all free. So tomorrow it will be 5 p.m. GMT London time. I'm going to put the link in the description. It's actually already on my Facebook page and also YouTube. So you can click on the link, register yourself. It's free, but you have to register to access the interview. So be sure to tune in. Yeah, okay, that would be cool. Good, Stephen. Good morning. Excellent. That's very good. Nice hat, of course. I like that hat, right? And this is my favorite hat now, but you know, I just wore it out. Yes, and I just did my shopping outside and with wearing this hat. I'm so proud of wearing this now, so that's really cool. So I just went out there. Talk about going out. Yeah, you know, I haven't been out actually shopping for quite a while, and I've been ordering things online, and my wife has been doing the shopping. So like today it's actually my turn. I went out there kind of first time in 6 weeks, 7 weeks maybe, and weird. I mean, I felt that I couldn't move my legs. You know, I think I need to practice walking once again. You know, yeah, it's so weird. Like actually out and walking around the supermarket is kind of a weird. Rico, it's not Rico. This is Juiko, and then it's Olympus, and you can see that the word here. Where is it? This way. Yes, break free with Olympus. That's a really cool hat here. I'm going to show you more merchandise. I showed some yesterday, the new beanie hat. I'm going to show you another one, but you have to stay tuned until the later on of this talk today. So I'm going to show you one item per day, because I have 5 items altogether. So it's all kind of cool. So I can't wait to show you all of them. So I already showed you the hat and the beanie hat. So I'm going to show you one more today, and then one tomorrow, and one on Friday. Really awesome stuff. Anyway. So that's kind of my update. London is okay, you know, still under lockdown, and we are officially overtake Italy in terms of the number of people who, you know, sadly passed away because of the COVID-19. So we are now the highest number in Europe, apparently. But having said that, you know, the government did say that it's too soon to judge the numbers. It's not a game of ranking, apparently. But anyway, so to be honest, numbers is horrible anyway, regardless. So I'm not really trying to think too much about it. All I want to make sure that is, you know, people that I know, friends and family, are doing well, you know, health-wise. You know, they are still having this upbeat and happy mood, yeah, you know, that's more important than anything else right now. And I know also job security, money can be an issue, you know, and myself is not immune to that, obviously, because I lost all my jobs this year. You know, being a freelancer, a photographer and filmmaker, you know, like there's absolutely nothing going on at the moment. I do hope that there will be something later on, you know, when things ease down a little bit more. So we shall see, you know. But having said that, you know, health is obviously the most important, and I know that a lot of people get stressed a lot these days, are stuck at home, you know, kind of feel like you're confined into a box, you know, especially people, you know, maybe in a flat or something, like apartments, and they don't have gardens, access to garden, just a little bit outdoor space, you know. I can kind of feel it, I can relate to that. So yeah, it is really, really horrible, but I do sincerely hope that everyone is sound, nice and healthy. That really is the most important thing, because I have to tell, you know, this story only because I know a couple of photographer friends actually passed away last week. Sadly, I only got the news yesterday through my Facebook, and you know, it's quite sad to hear that these are 2 really good photographer, good friends. You know, I met them a few times, and unfortunately, they contracted COVID-19 and they couldn't make it through. So there you go. So a couple of people that I personally know that had passed away, unfortunately, and you know, it came as a shock to me because I remember them vividly. And then last time we talked about photography, you know, really passionate about things, and yeah, it's not good to hear, you know, things like that. So that's what I'm trying to say to you guys. Be safe, you know, stay home, you know, wash your hands, you know, do anything that your government tells you to do, and just try to stick with that. I know it's tough, but let's just stick with that, and then everyone should be nice and healthy, and hopefully. But anyway, so let's go back to today's topic, right? You know, and after the update, I usually talk about topic of the day, you know, kind of, and then I have Q&A. Q&A is not really, it's not the third part, you know. You can just ask me anything as you want. This is entirely up to you. Well, as soon as I see the comment section, which is working today, so as soon as I see the comment pops up on my screen, I will answer your question accordingly. So it's not really a third part, it's just as and when you feel like it, because it's the live stream, and I don't want it to be very strict like a classroom and things like that. It's not like that. It's just a film, just like having a nice chat, right? Okay, do you need photography degree? Do you need a degree to be a professional photographer, or to be good at photography, or even filmmaking, you know, to that extent? Right, let me get rid of this, because now you know the topic of the day, and actually I may leave it on here. So, right, do you need it? The short answer, No. And don't get me wrong. I think studying photography can be very fun, because they will teach you a lot of stuff that you don't normally get in a normal commercial environment. And a lot of for instance, a lot of history behind photography, the development of photography, all the theory behind it, and a lot of course, the artistic side of photography that you may actually not be able to understand if you are really a self-taught photographer. And I am a self-taught 100%. I didn't really study anything. However, I did attend some workshops. I did do some kind of self-study in a way, like buying photography books and things in the past, and also get inspired by a lot of grandmasters in the past. So I buy their photo books, I study their photos, and then trying to replicate. It's kind of like a trial and error process when you're self-taught. A lot of things you just have to do it, right? Just have to practice. So it's still a hands-on there, but you can do photography and filmmaking yourself. You really don't need a degree to do it. But of course, studying, like I mentioned, studying a degree or some sort of qualification in either photography and filmmaking will help you understand a lot more about the artistic side of photography. And like when you're going to an exhibition, for instance, you want to learn how to read photography, like read the people's photographs. Like sometimes it can be quite difficult to kind of get the grasp of what exactly he or she is saying in this photo. Why did he compose the photos? And there's a lot of this why and what and where kind of thing that you may not be able to do if you are self-taught, because most of the self-taught photographers and filmmakers, they would look at the general aesthetic side of the thing that they're doing, whether it's photography or filmmaking. So like they really just concentrate on it looks good rather than it has a story behind it. It's easy said than done. And a lot of time, depending whether you are talented enough, natural talent to be able to do that, or you just somehow do study other people's work and attend workshops and kind of thing. Just keep being directed, so you're kind of starting to understand a little bit more, and then you just have to slowly soak into the artistic environment and get the gist of it. And good morning, Trevor. And yeah, absolutely. So there you go. Trevor just brought up a comment here. A degree does not make a good photographer. It can help a good photographer. Absolutely, that's exactly what I said. It will help you understand the photography a lot more from behind the scene, and also from the artistic, not just the superficial aesthetic side of the photography, which is what a lot of people do these days. And they really ignoring the fact that how can you read the photo, how significant is that photo, why is it so significant, why is it so why is the detail is there, telling the story, why is that matters, not just the subject, blah 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 blah. It can be a lot of things you can talk about a photo. So without that, we won't be able to recreate. If you want to produce a great photograph, you need to have the understanding behind it, because you will be choosing the subject, you're trying to compose your shot more appropriately, rather than just generally, like a sheet wide open, want to blur the background out kind of thing, and you kind of get what I'm trying to say, right? Because a lot of photographers these days I see online, they simply cannot do that, just beyond that aesthetic. They just want to see, I want to see vibrant colors, I want to see the animal flying, flapping wings, and I want to see this person walking, splitting the leg in the middle of the street. That is a good moment to do. But there's a lot more than just capturing that moment, the color, the textures, from landscape point of view or anything like that. A great photograph is a lot more than just that, and so studying would help. Of course, if you have that natural talent, it also helps. But if you don't want to spend, let's say, 40 grand studying a degree in photography, of course you can do a lot of self-help, like attending workshop. They're a lot cheaper than doing a degree. Learn from really good masters like myself. No, I'm just joking. No, but you can learn from people. I learned from other photographers before. I was a second shot with other photographers. There's a good way of gaining a foot into the photography world in a more commercial sense, and also learning a lot of practical skills that you don't normally get in studying and theory. So this is really interesting that you have that understanding as well. So depending on what sort of thing you want to do in the future, you can study photography, or you can do workshops, or you can shoot a second shoot with other photographers. You know, I had assistants following me for about good 3-4 years. Then I have on and off kind of like apprentices, you know, coming in for like a month or two at a time. And so I do train photography. I also run workshops with people. So they come in classes of 2 to 3, sometimes 5 people per class, and depending on what sort of thing I'm doing. I used to work with Olympus as well, so they organize workshop for me, and there were about like 15 people joining every session. So I'll be going through some of the basic photography and filmmaking. So it's all about, you know, fun stuff and getting your hands on it and understand a little bit why you should be doing this and that. You know, I'll be showing you examples, and so I think it is good to learn. And I wouldn't. What I would like to say is I wouldn't just simply copy people's work and try to replicate people's work. It's good fun, you know. Don't get me wrong. You have to get that, you know, have to get it done out of the way first. So I think replicating other people's work is good to learn about how that photograph is constructed. And when I say constructed, you know, like how they process the photo, you know, how the composition, you know, the exposures, for instance, and everything like that. You know, but once you deconstruct the photo, then you have to understand it. You know, not just replicating it. You have to start understanding, you know, why he did that photo. You know, and you try to see if you can manipulate that in your mind, trying to create something similar using the same thought process, and to do it. And that way, you truly understand the meaning of that photographer, and also that particular picture. So this is really, really awesome in that sense. So Trevor just brought up a thing, and oh really? Oh, that is no good, isn't it? And but I have to say, you know, there aren't many photography degrees actually these days, and I suppose you know, there are far and few in between now that especially, you know, photography, it's actually interesting, you know. Like, I actually bring it up, Trevor. I think it's a good thing to talk about this. The photography scene all around the world has exploded, you know. Like, there are more photographers than ever before, you know. I'm not just talking about amateurs or like just enthusiasts. I'm talking about professionals, you know, because there are a lot more digital professional photographers out there now. And then wedding, for instance, you know, you know that wedding is a very competitive market, you know, worldwide, not just whether in UK, in US, it's global, yeah. And the amount of people who are now wedding photographers is it's just countless, and then it's just too many of them. So like, the thing is, not many of these people, including myself really, and had ever studied a degree. It's really kind of sad in a way, because I do want to study it, and just now because I'm really busy commercially. Well, actually now it's lockdown, maybe it's a good time to study a degree, but but I don't have the money either, because studying is not cheap, I'm telling you. And but yeah, it's kind of sad that, you know, I don't see more people actually want to study photography. But you know, I am a member, and also for, you know, RPS, Royal Photographic Society. I think they are good people to join and gain resources of the in terms of photography, because they have a lot of different disciplines there. You can actually gain a lot of information. They have workshops, they have newsletters, they have, of course, this monthly magazine you can read up on other people's work, and you can gain accreditation from RPS and so forth. So it's really, really cool things to do. So they are this one big resources. Of course, there are other people like SWPP and all the other organizations and bodies that you can join up and gain valuable information and resources. So there are a lot of things now, and I think that a lot of people, especially self-taught photographers, they really kind of want the hands-on experience and rather than theory. You know, in study there are a lot of theories behind, and if you're not really a good student you like to read a lot, that can be a problem. And but I actually do like reading, and because I actually had 2 degrees. I actually had but funny enough, none of my degrees are art related. Both of my degrees are science. So I have a degree in engineering, and I also have a degree in computer science, master. So that's kind of my background. So like, I have nothing to do with anything artistic, funny enough. And but I got bored and I got inspired when I was at uni, and then while I was studying science subjects, and I got into photography, and somehow I just developed a passion into it, and drew into it a bit more, and then became where I am today. So it's really cool, right? And about photography, so I think people should, if they do have time and resources, and I mean money-wise, and because you really need time and you need money to study, it's a good thing to do it. And maybe at the time when I retire, I might go back to studying a photography degree. You never know. I still really think that is a essential thing to learn about the history of photography, the theory behind it, and start to appreciate more what's behind a photograph rather than in front of the camera. So yes, it's really cool. Let's see what Trevor just brought up, and this seems that to be a lot of societies and academies and their own qualification. No, unfortunately, yeah, that is very true, and yeah, there aren't many qualifications, I would say, the letters behind the thing that actually mean too much. If they're, depending what sort of bodies they are, RPS, they are recognizables, and so is, I think, SWPP, but there are a lot more than that. There are actually some bodies, for instance, Leica, they have their own kind of qualification kind of thing, and but it doesn't mean too much because they don't really relate themselves to any other people. They think they are unique, so you know what I mean. Okay, they are superior to other people, because they are Leica. Yeah, and so yeah, it's weird. It's weird. I mean, I do hope that they are more generalizing and unite into a single space. And so, like, if I gain a qualification in this, it's recognizable worldwide, and I think it's a much better thing, and will entice people to study more. Yeah, I think so. But anyway, and let's show some photos, shall we? And because we show some photos, and that would give a little bit of a variety of what we do. And let's get rid of this topic here. Trevor, it is true. It is true. But that is the same as the charters for like all the professionals, where there's going to be chartered accountant, chartered engineer. Like I was one. And I stopped the membership now, so I'm no longer a charter member of engineer, and it's the same thing. You have to remain a member to keep the qualifications. You will lose it otherwise. Same as a lawyer, like even if you have a degree, you are qualified, but if you don't keep up with the membership, you will lose it. So like they I think it's a way for them to survive. You can't just gain the qualification, you kind of go. It's not like university, when you get it, you got a certificate, and that's it. That remain with you for life, and it's not like that, unfortunately, in professional level. I wish they are. That I don't have to like pay yearly for that, and especially in this year's, and I do have too many things to pay out, so it's not a good thing to do. So let's do a photo, and let me see what other things that I haven't shown you before. I showed you so many things already, and I do like to talk about movement. Yeah, right. Okay, this is a cool shot that I like doing. This is the kind of shot that I really enjoy doing, at the end of the wedding, because I think it's fun, right? And then I'm sweating. 1 second. I need to wipe my forehead a little bit, and I just want to wear this hat to show you guys. So let me just take it off. Oh my God, I'm sweating. Oh dear me. Right. The glamour side of being live on video is that I sweat like hell at the moment. And ever since I got out this morning, and I've been sweating, and the sun is really shining out there. It's really nice. Anyway, let's go back to the photo. And I really enjoy the after wedding party kind of, like after the day, after the first done, after they cut the cake, that's when people got into the dance floor. This really when the people start getting moving and getting this energy out and like releasing. Oh, finally I'm free, and I like that. And you know what? Every time I do these sort of shots, yeah, I actually move with the guests, and I love it. Because I like to soak up the energy, and because like as a wedding photographer, you stand there for like, by that time you're probably standing for about 12 hours, and it's tiring, and I need something to keep going for another hour or so, and before I finish the day, and then this will really get me going, especially if you are very good with the guests and also the bride and groom, and you develop the relationship and trust there. They are happy for you to get close to them, and so in the dance floor I usually get really close to them, and they don't really mind moving around in front of me and dancing in front of me, and I will be capturing these type of shots, and with the movement of the lights and everything is awesome. And okay, let's see what Travis is saying. I do this movement wedding reception else. Sometimes I get comments. Really? Okay. And oh well, don't worry about what other people say. I would say, and because you know what, and this is how you envision it, and if your client has seen similar shots in your portfolio already, and it's a matter of expectation. To me, I love this sort of thing, and I do use flash to freeze that frame there. I mean, it's cool. I'll show you another one just to. I think I have another one. Yeah, that's another one here. Okay. Right, there's another one here, and I have a lot more because but I'm just quickly dig up some of them for my hard drive last night, so I can show you some shots. And but I like, in a way, doing light painting because at night time when the dance floor is open and there are a lot of disco lights going, a lot of spotlights, that will allow me to do a lot of painting effects. If you're doing slow shutter, especially my trick is using, of course, slow shutter speed, second curtain with the flash pumped out, and do this type of shot. I stop down. I actually manual focused all these, but the way to do it is, of course, zone focus. I actually stop down the lens. Yes, I stop down at the dance floor, yeah. So stop it down to about 5.6, and depending what sort of lenses you use, man. And in micro four third, I'll stop down to f3.5 or 4, because I got a deeper depth of field, which is fantastic for this type of thing. And second curtain, boom, that's it. Like you can cut out between 1.5 meters to about 6 meters. You're in focus, so I can just like move around and just keep snapping and do all kinds of like cool movement with my camera, and to paint the lights around. And I love it. This is a really fun things to do, right? I'm pretty sure Trevor will agree, because it's a fun thing to do as a photographer. You can kind of experiment. I'm telling you though, I'll do a lot of these snapshots at the end of the night, and because you can't really see how you paint it, and so I do a lot of shots. So I'm pretty sure my success rate for this type of shot is very low, because I'm experimenting, I'm moving around, dancing with the guests, and I'll probably get about something between 15 to 20% shots that I will be retaining after a lot of them have been taken. Then I will still code them, get probably only a few of them will be remaining in the portfolio for the client. And yeah, because I don't want to show too many of them if they're not nice. So yeah. Barana, no, there's not multiple exposure. This is actually a single shot, and it's a slow shutter with second curtain on the flash that I use. So it's fun, right? And so what I do usually is, so let me kind of demonstrate with my camera here in front of me. Right, so I have my camera here, and so what I'll usually do is I, of course, set it to menu. You have to do it in menu because you want to control everything, including the flash, because I want to make sure that the distance is there and the flash is in the correct power. Of course, it depends on the subject, but most likely I'm keep the same distance with the subject. But within a feet or two difference is not too much of a problem. You can rescue it in post. Shoot at lower ISO, either ISO 2 to 400, depending on what sort of lighting, internal lighting that I have. Flash in manual mode, and again you have to take a couple of test shots, make sure that the exposure is correct. And aperture wise, like I mentioned earlier, is between 3.5 to 4, depending on whether you use a wide angle lens or a standard lens. Usually I use a wide angle because like this one here, the 12 f2 or the 17 1.2 set at f2 or 2.8 to 3.5. Sorry, 3.5 to 4. So you've got a deeper depth of field to play with. Then the shutter speed will be ranging between I would say half a second to maybe even 1 second, depending on how long the light trail want to do that. So what I do, I just basically, when I see the client, and I don't even look through the viewfinder, and I just pointing camera to them, and I just move with them. And then and also if I see the light, I'll do a couple of movement in the camera. You can rotate the camera. Oh, there you go. You can rotate the camera. You can move left and right. You can do all kinds of things. If you got zoom lens, you can do other zooming effects as well, which you can see online, and there's all kinds of things you can do with the light. So this is kind of like for me, it's a fun moment at the end of the wedding, and because of course, it's experimental, it's energetic, and also it's not so serious, right? You've been so serious for the entire day. That's the time that not only the guests can relax themselves. I can relax myself. I just kind of unbutton a couple of my shirts and then pick up my camera, and I just went onto the dance floor and start dancing myself. That's what I do, and then I had my flash gun there. I was holding the camera like, oh man, come on, oh yes, yeah, come on. That's exactly what I do. But that's why I'm getting this type of shot. And of course, once the guests and also people start seeing you dancing, and this is when you can see. Let me just bring up the other photo that I saw there. There you go. Then they're more comfortable of you being there because oh, you're part of us. Yeah, that's fine, man. And also because they've seen you throughout the entire day, they really know your faces already, and they do expect you to be part of the party. And but of course, weddings are people business. Like I mentioned to you, a lot of people, it's important to develop this trust and this relationship. Not just the bride and groom, it's to everybody in there. And then so they're more relaxed when you come to photograph them, and sometimes they would do some silly faces and do something in front of the camera out of the blue. That's when you capture all the genuine funny moments and things like that. And so you kind of have to relax yourself throughout the entire day. But when I say, I want to relax in the dance floor, it's a totally different type of relaxation. I'm just thinking about not thinking about work so much. I'm just kind of just enjoy myself as well, just to, cool down a little bit, and with my camera. Okay, cool. So let me show you another photos, and how much you create in photography is something like this, perhaps. And I love kind of so getting photos. Let me just shrink it down just a little bit more in the frame. Right, I kind of like to take photographs something like this, almost like I'm part of the party in there, witnessing the thing. So this is all happening live. Of course, it's not posed anything like that. They are actually doing the live dance, and it is a tricky shot to do because I had to react quickly, focusing quickly. And this shot. Right, this shot really was done with the EM5 Mark II, and the camera wasn't really good at low light situation, but I managed to nail it using the 17 1.2, and yeah, it's pretty nice, and I do like this sort of natural kind of looking shot, in terms of wedding wise. I don't like too much of posing, but occasionally, depending on the features of the bride and the groom, and of course the location, you may want some posing shot, right? And that's it is a little bit hit and miss. I agree, and because that's why you have to keep snapping. Hopefully, especially some bride and groom would dance nicely in ways of, they have a structure, proper dance, but people who may not be good at dancing, they just simply waving their body, and that's when you get tricky, because you cannot predict the movement. And that's especially, when you're coming to focusing them, is going to be a lot more trickier. Lucky the EM1 Mark III is now having a much better AF, especially in lower light now, because if you use 1.2 lenses, you can focus down to -3 EV, which is actually, for continuous focus, which is actually really good because -3 is actually quite dark, and -5, if you can do single focus, is actually pretty amazing. What you can do with the Olympus cameras these days. When I talk about posing, yeah, and sometimes I like creative stuff like this. And oops, there we go. So like this is a creative shot, and I like to use the motorcycle wheel as the frame for the bride, and it's funky, right? And I think it's a very fun thing to do. Of course, this was a very tight angle, you know. Of course, I don't want to topple the bike, and so I have to kind of squeeze my head into it, and like, you know, yeah, there you go, there we go, there we go, and then. But yeah, I got the shot nicely framed, and that is pretty nice. And also the red really gives the texture a little bit of pop in the thing, but because you can clearly see the bride there, so that is all good. Also, I want to show you another photo, and talking about sharp, Trevor, and yeah, this is exactly what you meant. You know, this is not a sharp photo whatsoever. This is a blur photo, but I love it, and the clients actually loved it. So really good. But like I mentioned in yesterday's stream, yeah, I actually talked about movement a little bit. I love a movement in dancing shot or emotion, because you know, it shows the genuine moments of that particular shot. You know, if it's just too sharp, it's almost like they're posing it for you. But you know, when there's a little bit of movement going on there, and you can clearly see that they are moving, they're dancing, it's a little bit of a dynamic in the photo that really capture the actual, you know, the occasion, you know, like in this particular case is the first dance, you know, it's beautiful. And of course, you know, the lighting also helps as well. You got the red spotlight shining on her, and then the rest of them are blue. It's just like, oh, you just kill it, you know, and then really cool. I did this in manual focus actually, so it wasn't even autofocus at the time, and but brilliant. I love this photo. So like, yeah. Blur photo is nothing wrong with it, and but you have to capture with intent, and not actually just blur everything, of course, you know. And you have to have the intention of why it should be blur, and also you have to control the blur as well, not like extra blur when you can't even see the eyes and mouth, and that would be a horrible picture. But you know, you really have to make sure that the blur is just tiny little bit, and not too much. So if you're shooting in like 150, 160, usually is enough to create that kind of movement there, and well, depending on ISO and also the lighting conditions. So like it's hard to really tell you exact setting. You just have to do a little bit of a adjustment on the day, because lighting could be very different there. The ambient lights could be very different. So like sometimes the spotlight can be really strong, and you have to really dial it down and things like that. Or yeah, it can be a lot trickier than you might think. So I will show you another posing one. So using abstract kind of thing, and there's another shot that I really enjoy doing is this type of thing. And right, so like I basically, as the bride getting ready, I shoot through glasses, and I love it. This sort of thing is quite a thing to do among wedding photographers these days, and is a very useful skill to have, and also creativity wise, I think it's quite nice, depending on how you position your camera and your subject. In this case, I use a lot of the surrounding glasses and bottles, whatever you name it, to create the actual space for me to frame the bride herself. So you can see the makeup artist on the left there, and is completely blurred out, because of the glass is actually diffracting the image, and but I kept the gap, the very narrow gap, just for the bride. One amazing thing I love about mirrorless cameras these days is what you see is what you get. So in the old days, if you're using SLR, you know, it will be a lot trickier to do this type of shot, and because you can't really judge the depth of field, and also the exposures. You know, you just have to rely everything on, you know, your experience and how familiar you are with that particular camera's metering system. But like in today's world, that is a lot easier now, especially in the latest cameras with face detect, like the Olympus cameras, so that you can actually use the face detect. Once you see the face, it will prioritize the exposures to the face, and then of course then you can adjust accordingly. But everything you know, in terms of exposure, you see on the screen is what you will get eventually anyway. So like it's very good to use EVF, and I think that's one major benefit about using EVF these days is that you do gain that confidence back. So I'll give you another shot, and let's get that out of the way. And posing, yes, I will talk about posing, right? So let's get a posing shot. There we go. I like this. I think I like this. I'll show you a couple more before I end today's talk. So there we go, and I'll show you bigger because I like it bigger, this one. And so you can see that this is the time that I like to do a little bit more than usual because I have to do a remote flash trigger. And this is a cool, fun one. I did this a few times, and I kind of got bored of it afterward, but I kind of like it, and the clients, of course, loved it. This is a couple of years ago now, and took it in Hertfordshire somewhere. I can't remember exactly where that place is. Been there once only. So what I did was, of course, you know, like the guests were inside the venue having their dance, and of course, and I just dragged the bride and groom outside. Like, I think, you know, the entire hotel outside is empty now. It's relatively dark, so let's go out and get some shots. So this is one of them, and I already had everything set up, and so I just basically just get to the position, hold up the umbrella, and I asked the groom to actually use one hand to hold the speed light, and pointing upward. Oh, bye, Brianna. Nice to see you here, and hopefully see you later on in my other stream as well. So this particular photo is cool because the bride actually helped me holding the speed light upward, bouncing off the umbrella, so it makes the umbrella look more like a lit up mushroom in front, up above her, above them. So it's a very cool, funny thing to do, and I do that quite a few times in different locations, and it works well for the bride and groom, especially you have a right umbrella, which I always have in my boot. So one last photo before I end it is this. Lovely. Right, this is more like a, how would I put it? A more fine art looking bridal shot. Yeah, this is actually in the middle of the wedding already. It's just before the wedding breakfast. So it's a very nice photo. I love the window frame there. It's just enough light there to lit up her face, and just a little bit of the dress and the trail is just like amazing framing. You know, I genuinely love it. If I really need to criticize this particular shot, I won't use a 3x2. You know, I'll probably just crop in a little bit, make the frame a little bit more centralized. But other than that, I mean, that can be done in post even now. But it's perfectly okay. This is a really great shot, and correctly exposed, which is fantastic. This was used the 17 1.2 stopped down to 2.8 on the EM1 Mark II. Yeah, great shot, and I love this colors. More like, yeah, it's definitely more like a fine art thing. But I wouldn't use black and white though. We talked about it yesterday, didn't we? And yeah, whether we should keep the color or keep it in black and white. And this particular shot, I would like it to be in color, just because it's already quite monotone anyway. You know, it's very dark and there's a lot of black going on there, and a little bit of, you know, the other colors are more prominent. Of course, is the white, the dress, and also the background where the sky is. You know, it's all white as well. But I'd like to keep in color, just add a little bit of pop in the photo, like the green from the trees, and also her face, of course. And so this works really, really well as a fine art bridal shoot, and I think it's a very cool thing to do. Yeah, I mean, of course, man, over the years, I have a lot more photos I could show you guys, but you know, it will take me a lot of time to dig them up from my hard drive. So I probably would not have time to do that, and especially, you know, if I'm doing a daily stream like this, you know, that means I literally have to work, you know, for a couple of hours just to prepare for this shit every single day for the next one. And of course, I've got other things to do, so it will be difficult. So whenever I have time, I'll dig something up, and then I'll show you guys in you know, accordingly. But we shall see, you know. But stay tuned for my afternoon streams for today, 3 p.m. My Photography 101 live on my YouTube channel, Red35 Photography. I'm going to put the link in the description after the stream. Also, I'm joining Peter Forsgaard, another fellow Olympus visionary from Finland. I'll be his guest in his show at 8 p.m. In his channel, Peter Forsgaard. And tomorrow, 5 p.m., I will be interviewed by Satellite Studio, also in association with Professional Photo Magazine in the UK. It's a lockdown series, part of the lockdown series interview among industry professionals and also visionaries and in their own respect. So it's really interesting series. They already done one for a professional event organizers, one professional photographer last week. So this week is me, and so I'll be his guest. I'll be they will be conducting an interview with me for an hour or so, and there will be a lot of Q&A stuff going on. So I'll be talking through my history, how I started as a photographer, how I eventually move into Olympus, and also why do I add video to my photography game, to complete myself as a creative and content creator. So it's a lot to talk about. It's a lot of contents there, and you can have the opportunity to ask me a lot of things, whether it's going to be Olympus based or just generic photography and filmmaking. So tomorrow is going to be big live stuff, and so you're very welcome to join. Remember, I'm going to put the link in the description. You're welcome to register yourself. You need to register to access that particular stream for tomorrow, which happens at 5 p.m. London time. So just before your dinner, so you have time, right? If you don't have kids, I'm saying, I have to somehow isolate myself from kids because they're happening around about the dinner time, so it's going to be really tricky. But I'll kind of isolate myself and trying to find a corner somewhere in my house and do this interview tomorrow, so it's going to be interesting. Apart from that, and it's all good, and there are a lot more exciting news going to come along the way in the next couple of weeks, which I shall share with you or later. But before I go, I did say that I'm going to show you another merchandise from Olympus. Yeah, you saw my lovely de facto lovely cap. Now this is actually my latest love now. Oh, sorry, let me just kick that. Yeah. This hat is my favorite hat now, and so I'm gonna show you another one today. Showed you the beanie hat which I yesterday. So I'm not gonna wear that now. It's too warm for that. So I'm gonna wear that in the winter time. But the next one is this. Yeah, it's not a compliment slip. I don't know if you can see that. I'm just trying to see if you can focus it. Yeah, it's focused it right. Yeah, this is a little pin. Yeah, it has the same wording, 最高, from the hat. So yeah, it has the same writing there, and it's a pin. You know how much I love my pins? This is it. This definitely go onto my denim jacket. I have, if you are familiar with my outlook, usually a jacket I wear, and I have a lot of pins on my denim jacket. This would definitely go on it, and so I'm really happy about pins. And if you're a pin guy, yeah, and also of course Olympus guy, and yeah, you will like it. Even if you don't, you're not an Olympus guy. This is a good meaning. It's a golden light, the god of light, and so it has good meaning behind it. Order one of these, put in your jacket, whatever, camera bag. It means you're the god of light. Trust me. Anyway, so thank you again for joining, and I hope that you all have a good and fantastic sunny day, and get out a little bit if you can, and have a walk or something in your garden, soak up a little bit of good air, and yeah, sun is needed for your vitamin D, make your skin look younger. I definitely lost that for the last 6 weeks now, 7 weeks, 8 weeks, and so I definitely look about 10 years older now, so not very good. Okay, cool. So I will speak to you guys all this afternoon, not tomorrow now, because I've got 2 more streams in the afternoon. So if you do join me, I'll see you there. If you're not, if you want to come back tomorrow morning, I'll be here once again between 11 to 11:30 a.m. on my Facebook. So I shall see you all later on. So until then, have a good day and take care for yourself. Bye for now.